Go.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Bill Wildarczyk. I'm the CEO of Fox Run at Orchard Park. Today is Wednesday, September 22nd, and this is our weekly COVID-19 update. I'd like to offer special thanks to our executive producer of this live broadcast, Melissa Metlak, who has painstakingly worked to get this up and running. And I know we've had hiccups every week now, but maybe next week will be the good one for us. Okay, so I'd like to start by kind of looking back and pointing out that we are now in month 18. So it's been 18 months since we've been in this crisis, in this pandemic. It's unusual to think that over 18 months, with all of the highs and lows and almost daily changes in regulation and protocols, that I can say we've had something as unprecedented. But September has been an unprecedented month for Fox Run for a number of reasons. Number one, we have cases in our health center, positive cases, both residents and staff. We have a new vaccine mandate coming out, and of course, just general staffing issues, being able to have the right number of people, and that's across all industries. So I'm going to start with the number of cases. So since the beginning of September, we've had a total of 18 skilled nursing residents who have all tested positive. All have been fully vaccinated. And I'm sad and sorry to say that 2 of those residents have recently passed away. Now, when you look at regulation and what qualifies as someone who passes away from COVID versus having COVID, someone can be completely asymptomatic, and we know that their passing might be imminent. But unless we can definitively prove that it's not from COVID, it's always going to be counted as a COVID death. So regardless of the categorization, we're very sad to lose 2 of our residents. They're very near and dear to us, and we wish their families the best, and we wish them well. I will say 8 of our original positives have now come off of isolation protocol. So what happens is when someone's positive, they have to be isolated, and we section off areas of our health center. Specifically, I'm speaking of our skilled nursing unit, and we create red zones for those who are positive and yellow zones for those who are not. And the protocols change. You have to wear gowns, face shields, hair nets, booties on your shoes, of course gloves, and double masks if you go into one of those red zones. And the yellow zones are more of just the gown, gloves, and masks. So it's a little different, and our staff are doing a great job of following all of those procedures. We had the New York State Department of Health in here last week to do an infection control survey, and I'm happy to say all of our policies and protocols are spot on. They said we're doing a great job and keep up the good work. It doesn't seem to answer the questions as to how the virus got in here, but we're doing a nice job of keeping it at bay. That's what we were told. So with that, anyone who tests positive has to go onto an isolation protocol for 2 weeks. And 8 of those residents are now coming off of protocol, and they're back into a yellow zone. So that's great news, because isolation is a factor. I know I've reported before that symptoms have been either minor or non-existent, but isolation does become an issue when you have to be separated, and when you're not socializing, you're not participating in activities, and dining is just one-on-one. It does take its toll. But those who have come off that protocol, I'm happy to say, are perking up a little bit, and that's a step forward. We still have 8 residents that are still on isolation protocols, and they will be coming off one at a time or in small groups over the next week or so. So again, good news. With regards to staff, we did have, over the month of September, 10 staff that tested positive. We still have 5 that are currently at home quarantining, 5 who have come back to work. Now, in order to come back to work, they had to have a PCR test that proved that they were no longer positive, and of course they had to follow that protocol period, that isolation period. So they've now come back to work, which is great news for our staff who have been here all along, working very hard. They're almost reinforcements to come and help out. And I just want to take a minute to thank all of our staff that have been coming in and day out through this whole pandemic, all 18 months. But specifically this month has been been difficult, as I mentioned at the start of this broadcast. And those who have been coming in every day, thank you for that. And if any of you watching this broadcast live, or if you're going to watch it on our website, feel free to reach out to our supervisors, our management, or directly to the staff and thank them, because they do deserve it. So with that, I'd like to talk about visitation a little bit. Visitation is still on hold in skilled nursing because of those positive cases, unless, of course, you're visiting a loved one who is on comfort care measures, or what they refer to as at end of life. We can't allow people to come in. You'll be gowned up, and you'll have all the PPE on so that you can visit your loved one, but that is still allowed. Visitation and assisted living is still ongoing. I do ask that if you're going to come in, you must schedule a visit. It's important for our staff to know when you're here and to know who's here. I know we've seen some instances where folks have said, well, I'm going to be outside anyway, what does it matter? And that they're not screening, or they're not making a reservation. It's important that you at least screen, and it's important that you check in so we know who's here. That's part of any protocol we need to follow. So if a positive COVID-19 case comes in, it'll allow us to help with contact tracing and to know who was here and who wasn't. So with all of that, it is encouraging news. It was difficult a couple weeks, but we do see a light at the end of the tunnel, and hopefully we're back to normal by the next week or two. The next thing I'd like to talk about is this vaccination mandate. So as I've reported in the past, New York State Department of Health has issued a mandate that requires anyone in healthcare, essentially, to have at least one dose of the vaccine by Monday, September 27th. We've informed all of our staff that this is the rule, and if you're not vaccinated, you will be terminated. It's a harsh reality. We're in a unprecedented, again using that word, environment everywhere where, I don't know where all these staff are, but restaurants are struggling, health centers are struggling. Everywhere you go, people are flip-flopping whether they're open or closed, and there's just not enough staff. So in this environment, it makes it even more difficult for us, as we have to let good people go. And it's not an indication or of who they are. It's their choice. And if anyone is no longer working here, I respect their decision. And again, it's their choice, not ours, that they no longer work here. And we wish them well. Looking at the list of folks who we're likely going to lose, just focusing on direct care in our health center, it looks like we have about 4 direct care staff, and those are CNAs and nurses who are going to leave Fox Run. But we're doing our best to fill those positions, and we already have some people who have come in with our open interviews, and we feel pretty confident we're going to be not exactly where we want to be in the short term, but we're going to be back up and running at a good pace. Again, better than most communities, but not quite to Fox Run standards. I think that's it with you're going to see a few faces that are on the independent side. They're not going to be here as well. And really the biggest impact is going to be in dining services. So some of our young servers are not going to be coming back. Part of that is vaccination status. Part of that is just schoolwork. And it's difficult to bring in new staff under this environment. We're doing the best we can to bring in some of these young servers so we can fill some of those spots. So in the meantime, we have changed our schedule a little bit with our dining venues. Our Oak Room will be open now only 3 days a week, Monday, Friday, and Sunday. And the truth is, the young staff that we have things going on in their lives too. So if we don't have the staff to properly serve you, we're going to close the dining room. We're scheduling it this far in advance, but there may be days where you expect the dining room to be open and it will be closed. Just I ask for your patience with our staff. I know people have gotten a little frustrated that service has been slower than expected. We're doing the best we can, but expect that there will be days where the dining room is going to be closed and it will be takeout or delivery only. When that happens, deliveries will be free until further notice. I think I previously said through the end of September. I don't know that this is going to end in September, so we'll keep it open as long as we can and accommodate you the best we can. So again, I ask for your patience, and I think everyone's been great thus far. If you have any questions for me, please submit them. I'd be happy in next week's broadcast to answer those questions, or if during Friday coffee hour. If I can answer any questions, I will as well. But we're hanging in there, and I think I do see a light at the end of the tunnel. So with that, I encourage all of you to continue to wash your hands and sanitize where possible. We are encouraging masks for everyone on campus, but we're not requiring it for our independent residents, but staff are required and visitors are required. We're asking visitors not to congregate in any of our common areas. And of course, everyone must check in at our kiosk at the Commons entrance so that we know who's here and when they're here. So with that, I hope all is well, and I hope everyone has a great week, and God bless.